This is happening.
Let me just do what I love to.
No 9 to 5.
Eat that frog. You gotta work hard.
Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. This is Lifestyle Architecture Lab, and I'm your host Himanshu Sachdeva. Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Lifestyle Architecture Lab. In this show, I talk about lifestyle design, financial freedom, and also dissect the process, behavior, and routines of the personalities who have designed a lifestyle of freedom for themselves. These guests range from artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, lifestyle coaches, investors, professional athletes, etc. These conversations dig deep into their stories to find out their thought process, tools, strategies, and tricks that makes them tick. This podcast is brought to you by Audible. I love audiobooks and I've been using Audible for years. Whenever I'm commuting to work and back, almost always I'm listening to a book. Because I don't get time to read as much as I would like to, so audiobooks help me read books in a whole new way. If you want to try it out, you can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Himanshu Sachdeva. You'll get thousands and thousands of books to choose from, which you can listen on your phone, laptop, or even on your Kindle device, anytime, anywhere. In this episode, I'm talking to Delton Dsouza. He's an adventure filmmaker, director of photography, and cinematographer. He's been publishing his amazing adventure outdoors videos on YouTube, including his BikePacking Series. His video editing works are just out of the world. He's also done commercial work with names like Vogue, Flipkart, and more. In this conversation, we cover a wide variety of topics: his creative process, how he transitioned to this creative career from a regular airline job. We also talk about his YouTube series called Bikepacking. There is a lot of nitty-gritty details if you are an aspiring filmmaker, YouTuber, or director. It was just pure joy listening to this guy talk about his passion. So without further ado, please enjoy this conversation with Delton Dsouza. Hey Delton, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to be on the show. Thanks, Himanshu.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you here. Yeah, first time I saw your videos on YouTube, Muscle Mat TV. It was an amazing experience, and I was blown away actually to see someone in India making these kind of videos.
Oh, that's great. That means a lot.
Yeah, so it reminded me of Casey Neistat, in fact, because the style he started with the vlogs.
With the vlogs.
Yeah, so it reminded me of that. But I found that you put a lot more effort than Casey would into the edits.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was really amazed with the amount of work which was put into those 10 minutes video or the 15 minutes videos. So I really love your work from there. So since past few years you have been working on your YouTube channel and creating all these amazing videos.
That's right.
And you have also worked with brands as a director of photography.
Yeah.
So earlier, we discussed on the pre-recording call, so you have mentioned that you have dipped your toes in various kind of careers.
In a lot of fields, yeah.
Yeah, in a lot of fields, and eventually you came to something you really love, which is creating content and like creating video specifically, and filming and director of photography, all those very niche stuff which is there. So how did you make your way into that? Was there any defining point which made you come into this kind of direction?
Well, not quite actually. In fact, if you asked me 5 years ago if I'd ever think about being a director or a DOP, I would say no, because I had no clue. Maybe even more than 5, I think 6 years ago. And it's very strange but very I mean, I love it that it's happened because it just happened very organically. I used to be, like, if you go way back, I started working in call centers. This is when you just get out of college and stuff like that. Then I moved on to being a cabin crew. Was a cabin crew with Jet Airways for almost 5 years.
Wow.
And that was amazing because at that point in time, they had started doing international flights. And also, you expand and you get to see more of the world and you explore because of those things. So I kind of enjoyed my 20s. And then I wanted to do something different. So I was always into fitness, very active. So I became a celebrity fitness trainer. The trainer happened, but then the celebrities just happened to come on because of the work that I was doing. And it's so surprising because one of my clients used to be a director of photography. He still is. He's in New York. And he's doing a lot of work. His name is Vishal. I remember when I was training him, I showed him one of my videos and he was like, that's pretty good, And I kept asking him questions about that. And he said, you have an eye. So it was just that little thing that you have an eye, something to do with the camera. And from there, I any which ways was gravitating towards doing more videos. I was making videos of my GoPro at that point in time. And I said, wow, this is really cool. You can make like cool videos and stuff like that. And I think the learning process just started from there. It just went on. And I just kept learning more and more and more. Action cameras to then mirrorless then to cinema cameras and so on and so forth. And I started learning the editing part of it because I wanted to know everything about filmmaking, not just being behind the camera or, directing. I even wanted to know the edit part of it because if you can shoot a particular thing, it becomes easier when you go back to the edit stage and then you know exactly where you need to cut, where you need to put the sound in, where you need to put the music, what music would fit in. So
music is the largest part of any story, right?
To be honest, I think the sound, not just the music only, the sound, because you could have a video with just the music and really cool footage, but if you don't have those sounds inside that, something is missing. So I had to learn all of that also. But yeah, I'm just really glad that it happened very organically and I've just loved it since then. So if you'd ask me, every day is a learning stage for me. So right now I've just invested in huge camera gear because I'm upping my production value.
Right. A cinema camera, right?
Cinema camera, yeah. I just got back from Hong Kong. I got some of my gear from there. I've sourced it from a lot of places, but I just know that this is something that I wanted to do because I've always had this thing that I would run around in the jungle or make my videos with a red in my hand. This is not a red, but trust me, it's almost in fact, it is better than a red, at least the starting 2 versions of it, So I'm really happy that I have now a cinema camera and I'm upping my production value. But coming back to the question, this happened very organically and I'm really happy that it happened because I think sometimes you look for what you want to do in life, but it just doesn't turn up and this just showed up right there, saying, okay, man, I think this is something that I need to do. Let's just pursue it. And to be honest, having no knowledge about film, having no knowledge about cameras.
You've never been to the film school
Never
as well,
been to
right?
a film school.
Wow.
And I've done work with a lot of people till now.
And I think your editing work can shame some of them, like who go to the school.
Thank you, you're far too kind. But still, I would say that every day is a learning process. And the fact that I've learned everything by myself just goes to show that anyone can learn anything.
Yeah.
You could go to a film school, pay a crap load of money, or you could even learn at home because at the end of the day, learning happens from you. You have to be willing to learn. You can spend as much money as you want. But if you're not willing to learn for yourself, that process happens from within. You're not going to learn anything.
Right.
And I think if you're leaning towards something that you really love, then the learning comes very easy. And I think this is something that I really love. I know that this is something I really love. So it's just came very easy to me. And it's still coming to me because I'm still learning.
Yeah, I few days back, I think I saw one of your vlogs where you are telling about how to create a video for YouTube. I thought you will be telling about some technical stuff.
Yeah.
But then you started telling about you should not contemplate about the things which you want to do. You actually should go and do it.
Exactly.
So I really loved that video from that perspective.
Because many people, what they do is they think, this is what I used to do initially. I would just take my camera and go out and shoot. I'd not have a plan in mind. I'd shoot, come back and then sit on the edit. And for somehow it just came to me. I'd put the pieces together like a jigsaw puzzle, put some music on it, put some sound on it, and it just clicked. But then later on, when you progress. And when you move to doing work with people, then you need to make a script, you need to, storyboard your shots, you need to know what lenses you're going to do, you need to know the lighting.
Yeah.
So all of this again was never taught to me, but I learned it, and I never shied away from learning things like this.
So what was your major source of learning by yourself?
I think it is the University of YouTube and Google.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think YouTube is one of the best places to learn anything. It is free, and I believe that's like a boon for anything that you want to do in life today.
People, I think, put content for free on YouTube, which is like pure gold.
Exactly. Like you don't have to, like film school level stuff is for free on YouTube,
It's just mind-blowing. Like few years back, you can't even imagine this kind of learnings you could get.
Yeah, absolutely.
On online.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, as majority of your videos are adventure videos and travel stuff, so how did you went into the direction of outdoor filming specifically? Because outdoor filming requires a lot of resource and a lot of efforts. So how did you move? Was it also organic, or how was it?
I don't know. This might seem a little cliched when I say this again, but it just came organically. Like, I think the one thing for me that is, I think the root of everything is travel. So since I was a crew, when I was a crew, there was a lot of traveling involved.
Jet Airways, right?
Traveling from different countries and even inside India. And when I left Jet Airways, the travel aspect of it just completely...
It remained.
Because you're used to getting up every day and finding yourself in another country or another city.
Wow.
And then when you get up and you're in the same place, you're like, okay, I miss this now. What do we do? So I started going out for different hikes. I started going to different forts around Bombay and started filming those things. And I also took up running at that point in time. I started running a lot.
It was a few years back?
I think, about 3 years back.
3 years back.
Yeah. And I really loved it. I really loved running. And when I mixed that with the outdoors, and I'm talking about trail running, that actually became like a drug for me, but like a good drug, like a good high,
Good high.
Because you're just out there. It's just the trees. There's no proper road. There are wild animals for sure, snakes and stuff like that. But it just engages the mind and it helps you focus a lot better. I think that the city is a duvet. It's a comfort. It's a blanket. And we just get too stuck in the rut, so to speak, because not many people go outside of the city and explore things. And if you just leave Mumbai, there's a lot to explore. So we started doing these treks, me and a couple of my friends, Nitin, Adi, Imran. We started doing these treks. We started going to different places. We started delving into more places where people don't usually go. And it became a fun thing. And then when I started filming it, and then when I started making videos about it, people started loving it. They were like, "Oh man, wow, this is really cool.
We need more of this high.
Yeah, let's go and do some more of this stuff." So
wow.
So yeah, that's how it basically just transitioned to doing these things.
Basically, you are stripped down from your city life, and
absolutely,
you are sent into a natural human condition where, like in earlier times, hunters and gatherers were like going into wilds, and they were always alert and alarmed.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying, right? The city is kind of like a comfort for us because everything we know, we take for granted. You want anything, you just literally call for it today. So the fitness aspect of it is like you have Swiggy, you have Scootsie, not to say that they're bad things, but we're getting everything sent to us.
Yeah.
But when you're out there, you're relying only on yourself, and that's it. And I love that. It's going back to bare bones,
True, so true. And you have an amazing series as well on YouTube, BikePacking.
Yeah, that's...
I'm really excited to talk about it because I've not seen anyone bike pack specifically and do YouTube in India. So how has that experience been? And first of all, for the audience who might not know, can you define bikepacking in a brief, and then how you got started with it?
Yeah, so bikepacking is basically very easy to understand. It's literally backpacking on a bike. It's literally just that. Because the only thing is now your bags are not on your back. They're literally on your cycle.
On your bike.
Yeah, and you're cycling everywhere. And how I got into bikepacking is Imran and Adi, the other two guys who we do this bikepacking series with, my close friends. So Imran and Adi had done a few bike packing trips, or rather they used to cycle a lot, and they used to tell me, man, we really need to do this cycling thing. Let's all do this. And I said, man, sure, why not? This is something different. Let's try it. And the minute we did the first one, which was Bombay to Goa, oh man, I died in the first 2 days because I have not cycled more than say 50 kilometers or 60 kilometers max. And that was not at a pace at what we were doing paces in Bombay, Goa, and especially in Bhutan with the inclines. But the minute I started doing it, I was like, wow, this is an experience, because you're not just cycling from one place to the other. You're exploring places of India or rather even Maharashtra, which are just completely untouched, picturesque, beautiful. I mean, some of the views that we got from Bombay to Goa, it reminded me of places like California, like Los Angeles and stuff like that. And I was blown away by it. Unfortunately, the thing that actually infuriated me about this also, every coin has a heads and a tails, so there's a good and a bad, was that every place that we went to, no matter how beautiful the beach was, no matter how remote the beach was or the place was, we found trash, plastic, and people leaving a lot of stuff behind.
Oh man.
So, which kind of really saddened us, because the reason why we started bikepacking is also because it's ecological and economical. There's no carbon footprint except for what you're breathing out.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more fun when you do it with friends, or even if you're doing it for yourself. And so that segued into the Bikepacking 201, which is India to Bhutan, which is when we cycled. We just did that in November.
Yeah, it got launched on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
right?
3 episodes out already.
Yeah.
And the main reason for that was because Bhutan is the only carbon negative country in the world. There are no other countries in the world that's
happiest country
in the world. So when we were doing research about Bhutan, we thought, okay, man, everyone is saying it's the happiest place in the world. But at some point, you really feel like, is it really though? But when you go there, trust me, it is everything that they say and then some. I've never seen people so happy and friendly. The food is so delicious, and oh man, the air is so clean. You can just...
Wow.
When we came back to India, we were like, oh man, now we can smell everything, because we come back through what is this place called? Oh man, I'm forgetting the name of, so it's Phungshling is the border, is on the other side of India, and Jaigaon, because you exit India from Jaigaon, and well, it's not a very clean place. I mean, I can understand they have got a lot of people coming in and out from there and going there, but it's not a very clean place. I would say that it's very polluted also. And that place is very beautiful, because West Bengal, Calcutta is very beautiful. And you have the tea estates, because when we were cycling on the way, there were a lot of tea estates. It's so clean, so pretty. But yeah, Jaigaon was not that pretty. But when you cross the border, and this is a fact, I'm not just saying this, when you cross the border, it is instantly clean. You go a little up the mountain, there's fresh air, and you can see green, and you can smell the difference. That's how beautiful it is. But yeah, that segued into Bikepacking 201. And now we have Bikepacking 301. Now I can't tell you where that's going to be.
Surprise.
Yeah, but it's going to be an international one again.
Wow,
so,
amazing.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned about climate change, and you saw plastic and garbage even on the remote places which were seemingly untouched. So as you are going to do Bikepacking 301, so is there anything which you are trying to do or accomplish so that you can inspire people to think about climate change and get on that mission along with you guys?
So bikepacking, when it first started off, was just to show people that you can actually cycle distances with your friends instead of taking a car, a train, or a flight.
Yeah.
Although yes, we did take a flight from Bombay to Siliguri, but then that whole trip that we did on our cycles. Yes, there were some parts in Bhutan where you could not cycle. So it's now, unfortunately, we could not cycle. We wanted to cycle and do the whole thing, but you have to abide by the laws of the country also. So if they say you can't cycle there, don't do it. Don't do something that the country does not allow. So we abided by the rules. We did everything by the rules. This whole series, I didn't get to shoot any drone footage because when we went to get our permits, there was a board over there which says drone flying is not allowed unless you have a permit, and they would not give permits to anyone and everyone. Plus, our guide that was there said, "Look, if you do that, you'll get away with the footage, but I'll get caught." So I didn't want to do all of that. I don't want to put someone else in trouble.
Danger,
Yeah. So I didn't fly my drone even once, even though I had it with me, which
Yeah.
I felt really bad because the views.
It would have been really amazing.
The views. I mean, when you like, okay, for example, Tiger's Nest, Taksang Monastery.
Mhm.
You see a lot of pictures, you see a lot of video of the place.
Mhm.
It does not do justice to what you would see with your eyes. It
Wow.
is beautiful and then some. So yeah, we abided by all the rules. So coming to what we were saying about, again, Bikepacking 101 was to show people that you can actually cycle distances. Bikepacking 201 was showing people that, you can be ecologically conscious, you can be environmentally conscious
Mhm.
and reduce your carbon footprint. Like, to give you an example, for Bikepacking 101, we used 100 bottles of water. Now, we felt really bad about this because at times we did not know where to drink water from.
Yeah.
And you have to have water because you're cycling so much. And in Bombay to Goa, we were under the sun for a long time.
Mm.
So you're getting dehydrated, you're losing your salts. You had to replenish them. We felt really bad. So what we did is, for the Bhutan trip, we reduced our bottle of water consumption. I mean, at least the bottles that we purchased, from 100, which was in 7 days, we used 100 for 101. For the 14 days that we went, we did only 41 bottles of water.
Mhm.
Wherever we could, we filled our bottles of water. So in restaurants and places like that, we actually filled our bottles of water. So that was a
Wow.
huge reduction of, bottles that were used.
So from 100 plus bottles, you came down to
Just 41.
what? 41.
41
Wow.
bottles. That's it. And
amazing.
that was 4 people. Last time we were 3
just
people.
by thinking about it, right?
Just by thinking about it, right.
Mhm.
And also with our in the hotels that we stayed, so we had Le Méridien as one of our stay partners.
Mhm.
Now, every hotel room has plastic bottles of water.
Yeah.
We actually called them and said that, can you give us glass bottles? And people should do this because the hotels can actually do it for you. They actually sent us glass bottles of water every day
Mhm.
that we were staying there. So we didn't use any of the plastic bottles there, So environmentally conscious. Yes, at the start, it's going to be a little troubling for you to get into that rut of asking for these things, but
Yeah.
you have to do your part, because we only have one world.
Yeah. So if someone is contemplating about bikepacking,
Yeah.
any advice you would like to give to them who are just beginner and aspiring to do the same?
Yeah, it's actually very easy. Just start cycling.
Mm-hmm.
And get yourself a good enough bike. You don't have to have the best bikes. Get yourself a good enough bike and just start cycling. Practice. Do at least 3 rides in a week, because when you're doing bikepacking, you're cycling distances, and you're not just cycling, but you also have bags on your cycle. So there's additional weight on your cycle. So what you would do, say maybe 40 kilometers, if you do in a day with that weight, then you'd have to maybe reduce it by another 10 or 12 kilometers. But we didn't do that. We actually just kept pushing because we saw the views and we were like, oh man, we can't stop, So we were doing 100K a day.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much a lot of incline. So in Bhutan, we did Chilela Pass, which is one of the highlights of our trip.
Yeah.
Which I feel is an accomplishment in itself, because usually what people do is at least people that go there to Bhutan, they take the car and they take their bikes all the way up to Chilela Pass, which is 3,988 meters.
Wow.
So now you are definitely going to feel that the lack of oxygen in the air. The air is thin.
Just
Now-
touching half the Mount Everest, I think.
Yeah, you
Right?
could say that. Yeah. And so we actually finished this. 3 of us started. Adi and me made it to the top. Now, this is what happens, and this is a real life lesson for all of us. Imran was literally the third guy. Imran, he was literally 10 kilometers away from the end. It was a 36 kilometer ride all the way up. He was 10 kilometers away from the top of Chilela Pass. He had to turn back because he started getting very dizzy. He started getting, lack of oxygen. He could feel it. He could feel something wrong was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually turned back down. And, he then made all his way back all the way down so that he could get some air, get something to eat.
And you guys
recover.
were still up there.
We just pedaled through. We pushed through because we were like, okay, we're almost there. So we pushed through and we accomplished Chilela Pass in 6 hours, 6 minutes on cycles.
Wow.
Which was...
From where?
From Le Méridien, which is in Paro. We
Okay.
started off from there and we cycled all the way up to Chilela Pass. So it's
Wow.
36 kilometers
Wow.
and 1,800 some meters of incline.
Wow.
So it was crazy because you're already at altitude. Paro is at 2,200 meters.
Yeah.
So you're already at altitude. And the cold didn't make it very easy. It was very cold.
Air must be very thin, right?
Very thin. And so this is what happens. When you're cycling, you're sweating.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the sun, it's okay. But the minute you hit the shade, you feel the breeze and you're sweating at the same time. So you feel a chill down your spine. So it's crazy.
Wow, that's amazing. Basically, you are telling if somebody is contemplating about this,
Yeah.
they should not directly go to the mountains. But of course, they should start training on bikes first of all for
Absolutely.
2-3 days a week.
So
Then
besides that, also like do some strength training because it's not easy to cycle up mountains.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of inclines and you have to keep pedaling. You know, your ass is going to hurt, your quads are going to burn, you're going to feel hungry, thirsty. But when you but with bikepacking, what you can do is you can reduce the amount of distance you're traveling. So recently there was a bunch of guys who actually did Bombay, Goa, and it's really, really cool that they actually did it. So he saw the first 101 video and he said, you know, we're contemplating doing this thing, and when we saw the video that you did, we are now ready to do it, and he just did it in Jan, in the start of Jan.
We discussed about this.
Yeah, and they did it, and they were tagging me in all the posts, and I was so happy that there are people now taking up to bikepacking.
Getting inspired by that.
Absolutely. And I feel the more people start doing this, they'll realize, man, I can save money and travel and have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And explore parts of Maharashtra, India, which is so nice and so tucked in, you know, in places with really good food, good people, and locations which I think, you know, need to be filmed. And that's exactly why I like doing bikepacking. Is another thing is because you get to film this.
Right.
You know, it's raw, uncut right there.
But how's the danger level? Basically, if you are traveling,
Distances?
Let's say you were 3 people, right? So if somebody, maybe a couple is traveling on this kind of bikepacking tour, so is it dangerous to travel?
It's not dangerous. You just need to be mindful that, okay, so bikepacking usually is not much on the highways. You're actually taking the routes inside. Yeah, you don't bike pack or cycle in the night unless you have like a follow car and you have enough light on you. That's only because let's be honest, there are leopards. You know, it's the wilderness.
Yeah.
Like Adi, Imran and me, when we cycle in Nasik, we once went with just 2 lights on our cycles and we were cycling in Nasik. We were scared because in Nasik there are a lot of leopards, you know. So we were sticking close to each other and cycling. But there's a thrill to that also.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise it's pretty safe. In fact, there are a lot of couples who have actually cycled from Bombay to Goa. There are a lot of people who've done Ladakh, Leh, Manali. You know, there are a lot of solo bikepackers also in India, guys and men and women. You know, so it's just that these people don't document it, and so people don't know about it. But we've done a lot of research. We've Googled a lot. A lot of people have done it. It's pretty much safe. You just be very aware of the sites and the surroundings, and you'll know exactly when it's safe and when it's not safe.
Yeah, probably respect the locals as well, like while you're moving, and like try foods from there.
Yeah. When we were on the way from Bombay to Goa, we stopped at every village and we were trying the food. Like, if you think, what are those mangoes? Ratnagiri mangoes are cool. You should try Devgarh mangoes.
Devgarh mangoes are really good.
Wow.
I've had that.
Like organic. And so when we were at this one place where they cook food, it's a restaurant. So they actually cook the food and they give it to you to, you know, like literally from the kitchen to the table.
Yeah.
So we were talking to the owner of the restaurant and he was telling us the difference between the Ratnagiri mango and the Devgarh mango and the soil and the fact that they don't use any pesticides and chemicals and all of that. Yeah. Man, you could taste the difference in the food. So that's another aspect of
pure
bikepacking. It's wow, it's delicious.
Right. And out of all the videos that you have shot till now, specifically vlogs, is there any particular one which was really scary to shoot? Any specific video coming to mind? There was.
Imran and me went to film Sajid, who's one of the only, I think, or maybe is the only civilian base jumper in India.
Base jumper. Wow.
So base jumping is basically jumping off cliffs, bridges.
Wow.
You know, places which are very low altitude, and the fact that you just have one parachute. You don't have a reserve parachute. So if that parachute does not deploy, there's something caught up in between it, there's a very high likelihood of you just falling straight splat to the ground. So anyways, coming back to when we were filming Sajid, we went to Ahmednagar. We met up with a paramotorist pilot, Vijay.
What is paramotorist?
So paramotoring is basically, it's like you have a parachute with a motor at the back, and it's connected to this vehicle which is 3 wheels.
I got it.
You know.
Yeah.
So before he jump. We had to do like a recce to kind of see the area and stuff like that. So he went up to do the recce first because he's the base jumper. He needs to know at what altitude he's going to jump, where he's going to jump from.
Yeah.
So he came back down. Then I went up because I wanted to see, I actually just wanted to get on the paramotor and see how cool it looks from up there. It was scary for me strapped in. Like, it is scary, but it's fun. So I was filming it and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Adrenaline rush.
Yeah, the adrenaline rush is just completely insane. But because you have to understand, this does not have wings. So when there's little turbulence, you'll see the whole thing move and you're like, whoa, the seatbelt's the only thing that's keeping me on this thing,
Wow.
So anyways, I came down, then Imran went up. He also got like a few shots. Now it comes time for Sajid to jump. I kept telling Sajid, check your bag, check your parachute, check your parachute. I think I must have told him at least about 20 times, please check, make sure that your parachute is 100% safe, And he's like, yeah, D, I've checked it. I was like, I'm sorry, man. You're jumping, but I'm the one who's filming this. I do not want to film something I don't want to see.
I just remembered the recent Oscar-winning documentary, Free Solo.
Jimmy Chin, yeah.
Jimmy Chin, yeah. So he also had a very much similar thing going on because
you're selling Alex.
Yeah, Alex. He said if you fall through,
exactly,
I can't do anything, and it will be the most regretful thing of my life.
Yeah, because you're there and you can't do much about it. You're just there and you're just witnessing something unfold. So the first time he goes up, I was like, man, just please deploy. Imran was like, just deploy the chute. Everything should go in, completely proper and 100% safe. And then when he jumps and then you see that parachute open, you're like, wow, okay, done. He comes back down, then he's like, D, I think we should do it again. I was like, yeah, I mean, you sure? Because doing it twice? He's like, yeah, why not? And the paramotors, the Vijay was like, yeah, you can do it again. I was like, fine, dude, it's up to you, man. It's your call. You're the one jumping. Again, I kept asking him, please check your chute. Please check your chute. Imran went up and, bro, are you sure your chute's completely prepped and proper? He's like, yes, don't worry. Now, at this point in time, there's something called a thermal, which picked up, and it picked up about 200 meters away from us. It's there in the video that I've shot. A thermal is kind of like when you have high and low pressures happening. It looked like a tornado happening right 200 meters away from us.
Wow.
And this happened when they were up in the sky. So they had to move away from it because if the paramotor or Sajid got caught into it, it would just spin them around and throw them, It's a complete danger.
Wow.
He jumped, and this time he jumped from, I think, 4,000 feet.
Wow.
So he was in the air for a very long time, which is another thing which should not have happened. But luckily, he knows how to manage with all these things. He was in the air for a very long time. Finally, when he reached the ground, we were like, oh man, this was a crazy day.
My heart stopped beating.
Exactly. And so you just wait for that person to just touch the ground because you're like, okay, now we can pack this thing up.
You said about tornado, I thought he might have got it.
No. So that thermal was literally away and it didn't come any closer. I don't know how that works, but it was in that one big place. It was very tall, but very high up. So yeah, I think that was one of the only times where I was really scared to shoot because I was like, there's someone's life. And this was just us doing it, We had no sponsors.
There was no sponsor?
No sponsors, no TV coverage. It was just us shooting it,
Wow. That's brave, man.
Just creative people going to do some creative, crazy stuff.
Wow. And so you do a lot of editing to your work, right? Where you put a lot of good effects and all that nice stuff. So is there any ritual or is there any creative process while you get into the edits? Any specific things you might be doing?
Yeah, so the thing is I've edited so many videos like right now, and that's when I was telling you, remember I said if I'm shooting it, I know exactly what I'm going to do in the edit.
Yeah.
It's because I think what's happened is over the years I've shot so much that it comes naturally to me that I see a shot, I know exactly where it's going to go, how I'm going to use it. And again, this only comes once you keep doing it. It's like repetition again and again and again. So everyone says, oh, you're very talented. I feel that the talent is something that you build because of the skill that you're consistently using all the time. Then it becomes like a talent. You're not just born with something and you just pick up a camera and you say, hey, I'm talented. No, you actually do it a lot again and again. So with the edit process also, if you see my videos from way back when, I think when I look at it right now, I'm like, oh man, did I really make those kind of edits? But then again, I'm actually good. I have that on my channel is because then you can see the progress that I've made, and it shows that you have to start from somewhere.
That's
to
really
get to
inspiring,
somewhere.
those videos specifically, where you are telling about the process and showing people how not to contemplate about it, but really do it.
Yeah.
That's only when you will get good at it.
Yeah. You can have the best cameras, the best system, but if you're not going out there and shooting something, then you're wasting that time and that the gear that you have with you. You know, you're not doing justice to it.
Yeah. And do you have any particular memory of any failure, any favorite failure, so to speak, which might have led to a stepping stone for your later success? Maybe something you failed on and then later on it became a really good lesson.
Failure. I've failed a lot of times, but I've never looked at it like that. I've always looked at it as like, man, shit, this didn't happen. Okay, what do we do next? Okay, yeah. For example, when I was wanting to do 101, bikepacking 101, obviously you have to approach brands and stuff like that. And people don't actually get to know about this, but when you're approaching brands, get ready to be shot down a lot, because people will say no. And especially to kind of show someone that this is something that you're conceptualizing and you're trying to make into an IP, which is now our IP. People are going to say no a lot, but I never took no as it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
We got Trek, which is one of the best cycle brands in the world, to be our sponsor.
Wow.
We got other brands to be a part of that. So it just takes persistence, and I guess I never look as a failure, as a closed door. I'll try and see what other doors open. And I also think that this is something that I think a lot of people should not do, especially for their kids, is that when they fail in something, it doesn't make them a failure. They just failed in that, at that point in time.
Try.
Yeah. It's not a failure. They're not a failure. Like, I've failed in school a lot of times. I mean, not a lot of times. Okay, that would be an exaggeration. But I remember that at least in my time, many people looked at like, shit, he's a failure. He failed in this. I think people should not do that to their children, because it actually makes them look down on themselves. In fact, you should encourage them to say, hey, it's only just one thing you failed and try it again, no problem.
In Orthodox families, I think in India specifically,
it still happens.
I've seen that.
It still happens.
Yeah, it still happens.
Yeah.
But now things are changing.
Probably. A bit. Yeah. I hope so, and I really do hope so, because that's the way you can actually shoot down a child's creativity, which you shouldn't. But yeah, I guess that's something that I don't look as failure as. I don't look at failure as, hey man, shit, it's never going to happen. Because if it never happened, I would have never had 201, and I would have never been even, being able to move on to 301 now. I dropped out of college 12th. I was like, man, this is not something that I want to do.
Yeah, and here you are, like rock star.
I mean, yeah, okay, part 2 kind again.
I mean, I've seen many people. There is a New York-based filmographer, Sarah Dici. Probably you might have seen her vlogs as
Sarah
well.
Dici,
So she's also a dropout.
And even Casey Neistat's a dropout.
Casey's a dropout, yeah.
No, but no. Once again, I'm not saying that you should drop out of school because, or college or whatever it is. I just felt at that point in time, it's not something that I wanted to pursue,
Yeah, I mean, I'm also not preaching about like dropping out of school, because I have also completed my degree. But the thing is, if you want to do something which is available via online mediums as well, and for academics, probably your parents might not be having some money, and you are taking debt to get into the school, so you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's a lot of
study
debt on
online,
them.
right?
Yeah, that's a lot of debt on them. A lot of that, and that brings me to this point also, is that you could go to the best schools, you could go to the best colleges, but that doesn't guarantee you success in life.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you learn a lot in school and colleges, and I, to this day, I wish I maybe finished my college, but you have to know what you do after you get out of college, because you don't just get successful by going to school and college. Otherwise, everyone would be successful. Not that I'm saying that everyone's job, is, there's a discrepancy in what job you do and what job I do. It doesn't matter if you're a person sweeping the road. A job is a job. It has to get done. There's no menial job, because at the end of the day, it's your hustle and no one's paying for your food.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. Here is a quick word from the sponsors of this episode. For you, the listeners of Lifestyle Architecture Lab podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30 days trial. The free audiobook is yours to keep even after the trial ends. I have a few audiobooks to recommend. Number 1 is Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. This is one of those books which will take you back to the ancient times and teach you so much. I recently read it and it just blew my mind. Number 2 is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. This is one of the greatest bedtime books which I discovered. Neil Gaiman's voice just makes this book much more wonderful. This story and the narration is just amazing. You can download any of these 2 books or thousands more for free right now. Just go to audibletrial.com/Himanshu Sachdeva. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Himanshu Sachdeva for your free audiobook. Please enjoy.
Coming to some personal questions, how does your typical day look like every day when you're editing?
So if it's for a job, then obviously you have to go through the whole process of making treatment note, which is a director's treatment note. So I dabble between being a director and a DOP depending on what the job requires of me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a director, then you need to make a director's treatment note. Now again, these are the things that I had to learn, and thank you to Google and YouTube, best universities to learn from.
Yeah.
So I got to then script that thing to show them what it's going to look like. Then after that, you got to get into a pre-production meeting. You have to sit with the clients, explain that to them. Then you got to sit and then you got to make a shot list showing exactly how the shot's going to look, what camera you're going to use, what lens you're going to use. I mean, the field of view, etc., all of that. Then you got to know the lighting that's going to be used, all of that. Then you go to shoot, then you have your shoot day, you have different departments, you got to deal with all of that. That is the easy stuff. The hard part is the editing. Because the edit work, no matter how you show it in the pre-production meeting, a client's a client. They're going to have a lot of changes in the end. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time.
So much back and forth.
And hours. So you have to understand that there are a lot of hours. There have been, so on a recent project that I did 10 videos. I shot for Flipkart, Condé Nast and Vogue. I would spend in a day about 15 hours editing.
Wow.
And I think I did about 14 days of editing.
Oh my God, so much less sleep.
Yes. And it's a lot of back and forth, but then again, it's something that you want to do, right? This is a job that you signed up for.
Yeah.
So this is what comes with it. Yeah, you have a reward, but there's something that you need to do for that reward, and that's the work.
Yeah.
And that's the grind. So you have to accept it. You have to be, it is a part of the job that you've taken on. So yeah, and days when I'm not doing work, which is, paid jobs and stuff like that, I'm learning. Like even right now with the cinema gear and everything that I have to learn a lot more than what I know, because it's moving to a completely different ecosystem. There's no autofocus. You're pulling focus manually. You have a whole rig set up. You have batteries. You have it's a lot. It's
very
a lot to
complex.
learn. Very complex, but it is fun. Like I have never been so thrilled to be learning so much. So yeah, every day get up, learn something, and then obviously focus on building up the IP, which is bikepacking. I want to take this to an OTT platform, and that is the next stage. So because we want to take this international, we want to be doing this in every country. Bikepacking is something that might be new to a lot of. It's not new. There are a lot of people that know about it, but compared to the people that don't know about it, I think that's even huge. So we want to take this and abroad, like for example in Europe, in America, bikepacking is huge. It's huge. People love doing these things, and I'm not just talking about people like who would say in the mid-tier money. Like I would say CEOs. People who are making big money, mucho dinero, as they say. They were doing bikepacking because they love it. It's a thrill. That means you could have the best ways of traveling, like business class and stuff like that, but you would still gravitate towards something like a cycle and bags and a cycling exploring. So it's for everyone. So yeah, I want to take this to an OTT platform and get it to a larger audience. 'Cause
OTT platform means like Netflix or something like that.
yeah, Netflix, Prime Video, Hotstar.
Yeah.
But then there are a lot of different other places also, like, different apps like Voot and all these other places also.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter to me where it goes as long as it's just getting out to people. Because I think that's my prime focus, to get it more visibility. Because I have noticed that on the YouTube channel, when we've put, at least for the last 3 videos, every comment, every message that I've got has been, man, I can't believe it that we've created such content, but the views are not there.
Yeah.
Or we can't understand that. Why is it at maybe 5.6 thousand subscribers?
Yeah.
So some of them message me and say, hey man, maybe you should, maybe you should start speaking in Hindi, or should maybe do it in Marathi. And I'm completely open to those things. It's just that my Hindi is not that good. Okay, and my Marathi gets me only through different villages asking for direction and food and stuff like that. So, I'm not completely against doing that. In fact, because I know there are a lot of audiences.
Maybe you should take some celebrity along with you on when bike packing.
Now you're getting into a place which I can't discuss.
Okay.
Maybe for the future, you might just never know who might be bike packing with us.
Wow.
So there are a lot of plans, yeah. So that's exactly why we want to get to an OTT platform.
Amazing. So, as you are a vegan as well, and we haven't been into that direction yet in the podcast, but how does your meal plan for a day look like while you are being a vegan? And as you are traveling a lot, like more than a usual human being, so how do you plan for that in your travel?
So when I'm in Bombay, India is the best place to be vegan. Indian food is vegan if you remove the
ghee part,
dairy and the
like
ghee.
Dairy.
Right. Everything is vegan about it. Well, so I recently was in Hong Kong. In fact, I just got back last night. Now, people have this thing that, oh man, you go to these places in China, close to China, in Asian countries like that, you're going to have a huge problem being vegan. That is completely wrong. You'll have a not so easy time finding the food, but you will find food. I was eating vegan the last 3 days in Hong Kong. No problem.
There are good places in Hong Kong.
I'm actually missing the vegetables, stir-fry vegetables.
Any specific place you would like to recommend?
Yeah, there's so many. Just Google it. Trust me. So even in the places that serve meat and stuff like that, you just need to tell them vegetarian. Okay, don't say vegan, because chances are they're not going to know what vegan is. So you start off with vegetarian. Say you can only eat vegetables. No fish sauce, no egg. Because in vegetarian food there, they put fish sauce, they put egg. They consider that as a vegetarian.
You need to be
diet.
very specific.
Yeah, you just have to tell them that. And I love the stir-fry vegetables that they make with burnt garlic sauce. And then I'm salivating right now. The fried rice without the egg, the noodles. I had some Japanese food, which was amazing. I was like, man, being vegan is now easy. It's 2020, and there are a couple of vegan restaurants in Hong Kong also.
Is there any vegetarian sushi as well?
Yeah, there's vegan sushi. Wow. Yeah. So basically, it's like a mock meat, that you get, but it's very delicious. Yeah. And you just need to know exactly what you want, and it's not hard being vegan at all. This is 2020. There's no reason you can't be vegan.
What's your reason why you started having vegan diet?
So it's been almost 6 years now since I'm vegan. Prior to that, I think 9 months prior to that, I was vegetarian. I was a full-on meat eater. Full disclosure, I used to eat a lot of meat, like a lot of meat, eggs, fish, all of that, like a heavy meat eater. And then I decided one day, I said, let's try vegetarianism,
What inspired you?
I just said, no, let's try it.
One day suddenly.
Let's try it. I was like, fine, there's no problem, man. I'm pretty cool with it. Then I started doing more research about veganism, and I noticed that you don't actually need all of these things. In fact, these things deter you from actually attaining. Like, I'm into fitness a lot, so I was doing a lot of, calisthenics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I started noticing the more I started cutting off the meat, the more I cut off the dairy products and stuff like that. And when I switched to veganism, man, I started seeing gains. This is when I used to do a lot of calisthenics. And then when I started getting into more of the adventure sports and the outdoor activities like trail running and cycling and all of that, I started noticing that my recovery times were much faster. I was getting leaner. Shedding off some excess fat in places that you didn't need. My sleep was better. I was recovering from my workouts much better. I was training much harder. I could do distances much better. And I was like, man, I've never felt so good in my life before. And I was like, obviously there's an ethical aspect to it also.
Yeah.
Between me and my fiance, we have 3 dogs and 2 cats.
Wow.
Now, how can you love one animal but pay for the slaughter of another animal, you know?
Yeah.
Like everyone, like if you see people, they'd be like, oh, it's a little pig, it's so cute, blah,
But
blah,
and
blah.
they're eating vegan.
But yeah, and that's the thing, which brings me again to the other part of it. Many people go to clean up the beaches to save the fish, but they go to a restaurant and order the same fish that they stop from the plastic, you know? So there's kind of like a dichotomy over there. But yeah, it's very easy being vegan. And I'm not saying, hey, you know, because I'm vegan, do it.
Yeah.
You can't force someone into being vegan. You have to make it a choice. It's a choice that you make. I would never force anyone to be vegan. It's your choice. And that's the way we all are. You know, you either do it or you don't. But these are the things that happen when you're not vegan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm friends with Amit and Monica.
Yeah.
That's how I actually got exposed to your stuff as well. And while I was like interacting with them earlier, and they both have been on the podcast as well.
Okay.
So after that, I thought, let me experiment with this diet.
Yeah.
But what happened with me was my purpose was not defined as compassion, right? And I was like just looking at it from the diet perspective, which is not the right way to look at it, I think. So for 4 months I did that and I became vegan. But suddenly, because I went into it unprepared, like I was having a shared kitchen at home where dairy was also being prepared and other things. So after 4 months, my like vitamin D levels and
vitamin D and your
B12s
so,
and all this stuff,
yeah.
it started like dropping down suddenly, and I was like, whoa, what's happening to me?
B12 levels is not even meat eaters for that matter. Your B12 levels not necessarily are all there, because you need to do a little more research about B12. So B12s, you definitely need like a vitamin supplement.
Yeah.
Which I actually don't take, and it's surprising. I'm not taking any D3 and B12 for a very long time, but I'm still doing pretty good. I just eat a lot of food, vegetables and everything. A lot of fruits. I eat a lot of fruits.
But what vegan food might be like giving that?
A lot of dark green leafy vegetables. See, B12 also comes from, if I'm not mistaken, from
algae or something like that.
No, I'm forgetting the right word for it. But if you just Google it, right?
Yeah.
And the best way to do this, if you feel that you're actually, you know, I mean, which a lot of people are not very B12, you know, high, you know, proper doses of B12. Just get a B12 supplement, like a vegan B12 supplement, even a vegan D3 supplement.
Yeah.
Just take one as per whatever is required, and you're good to go. You know, and just eat a lot of good food, man. Good, like Indian food. Like,
it's
trust
already
me,
vegan.
the best food in the world for me is dal, roti, chawal, achar, and papad, and some sabzi. That's it. That's the best food for me.
That's what I'm eating from past 30 years.
That is the best food in the world. I would love. I eat that food every day.
Yeah. So, taking a segue from food. Meditation. So do you do any kind of meditation or mindfulness practice?
Absolutely not. So what I do, or rather what I do is, for me, my meditation is when I go to the wilderness. When I go climb a mountain, when I go cycling, when I go, you know, into the jungle to film. It's just nature. I think nature is something that just completely calms you down. I think that's the disconnect that most of us have. We don't go out to nature more, and it's scientifically proven that when a person is taken to the wilderness, it actually calms you down. It makes you more centered, more focused. And I think that's so. When I don't go out of the city for more than 2 weeks, I called my friends and said, okay, we need to go out. We need to go out this weekend. So they just went out this weekend to Irshalgarh, and I was like, man, you had to do it on the day that I was landing. So he's like, you can come straight from the flight. I said, no, I barely got any sleep.
Yeah. Actually, I was recently reading a book named Why We Sleep from Matt Walker.
Okay.
He's a PhD in sleep science.
Okay.
And from there I picked up a lot of things. Like he said, he scientifically proved how sleep is more important than physical activity.
Yeah. It is.
So sometimes when I can go for a run in the morning, but I have compromised on the
When you sleep, the run
the
will
last
not be
night.
that good.
Yeah,
That's
so,
right. Even because what you're doing is you're actually breaking down a muscle when you do any activity.
Yeah.
You know, but the rebuilding of the fibers only happen when you rest and when you
while you sleep.
Exactly, while you sleep and while you have enough nutrition in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sleep is a huge thing. I love sleeping. I'm saying we because we're talking about bikepacking because all we did is we cycle and then go to sleep.
Yeah, true. So, are there any apps, gadgets, product or services you use on regular basis? Of course, there are a lot many, but any specific things you would like to mention which make your life as an editor better?
Yeah. I use Lightroom a lot for my pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Lightroom and then obviously Instagram because that's where you're posting it to. But besides that, other apps, I don't quite use much apps. Yes, Spotify and Amazon, not sponsored. But yeah, for music, because I think music is a huge part of anything that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it just sets the tempo for anything, whether it be running, whether it just be focusing on something and trying to get the work done. I think music is a huge part of it. But besides that, yeah, I think these are the only few apps that I actually use a lot.
Which is the video editing software you use? Of course, you mentioned that, of course, your intention is the more important thing. But of course...
yeah, I've been asked this question a lot and I keep evading this question a lot. And there's a reason why I keep evading this question is because, okay, so there are only 3 major things that people use. Final Cut, Adobe Premiere Pro, and DaVinci.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the 3, you have Sony Vegas, you have all these other things. You can get the result on any of this
right
to get the videos that I make. So I would say I'm using Adobe Pro, Final Cut, DaVinci.
Wow. So mix of things.
I use everything.
Wow. Okay. So another question I would like to ask you is there any person or a mentor, so to speak, in your field who inspired you to become the person you are today?
To be honest, I don't. I know it sounds really weird that I don't have a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I look at people's work and I'm inspired by it, but there's a flaw in having a mentor. There's a kind of flawed aspect of having a mentor also, right? Because when you have a mentor, you look up at that person. Now you have to understand that those people are also human beings, which means they make mistakes in life. And when people find out that, you know, that this person who's their mentor did something like this, there's a sense of betrayal that comes with it. And I've seen many people say that to me in conversation. Shit, I used to look up to him, you know, and I can't believe that he did something like this. But you have to understand that person's a human being.
He's also a human being. He learned through it.
Everyone has made mistakes. Everyone continues to make mistakes. Yeah. So I don't have a mentor, so to speak, but I look at and I'm inspired by a lot of people's work. Like how you mentioned Casey Neistat, you know. So back in the day, I used to look at a lot of Casey Neistat videos, and I used to look at a lot of Sam Colder videos. And I said, man, I need to make both of these videos. I have to put both of their styles together and make my video.
When Casey Neistat and the other
Sam
guy had
Colder,
a baby.
Yeah, you know, so I was like that. But then I realized one thing is that a lot of people do a lot of effects right now, like a lot of effects. And I feel that that's taking away from the actual part or the main thing, which is your storytelling. You know, so if you notice in the last year and a half or maybe even 2 years, I've actually completely stopped using effects. If you've seen any of my series called Just Watch, it's just me and my friends going out on a trek. We're not looking into the camera and speaking into the camera. We're just going out on a trek. You have the ambient sounds of nature, of our steps and everything like that, mixed in with good music. And people love it. There's literally us not talking to the camera. You know, it's just us going. And people are like, whoa, this is really crazy. This is really cool.
Yeah.
And that was inspired by this YouTube content creator called Craig Adams. Yeah.
saw. I was about to mention that I
Exactly.
saw one of his vlogs where he's like filming silent films.
Exactly. And that's what I did. And I was like,
Hornstride Island.
Hornstride. Yeah. And in fact,
Wow.
I messaged him because
Wow.
he and me were in Hong Kong at the same time. I said, hey, you're in Hong
Ah.
Kong. He's like, yeah, how do you know I'm in Hong Kong? I was like, because you remember, I told you, remember? And because I spoke with him about other few things.
Mhm.
And he's apparently going to be doing Nepal soon. And I'm going to be doing Nepal soon. I'm planning to
Wow.
do the Annapurna circuit, the whole circuit. The Annapurna circuit is basically the trail that goes around the Annapurna range.
Okay.
Okay, it's about 264 kilometers.
Wow.
And it takes you up to a pass called Thorongla Pass, which is 5,416 meters high.
Whoa.
And so right now, yeah, that's the plan for March end, April start.
That's something you're looking up to.
Yes, I want to do that whole circuit,
Mhm.
and it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's cold. Air is very thin.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hiking and trekking that you have to do. And when you're past, so you have to acclimatize at 3,800 feet, 4,200 feet, 4,800 feet, and then Thorongla Pass, which is 5,416. That'll be the highest I've ever trekked. So I want to do that and make it as part of the Just Watch series, where again, I'm not talking to the camera.
Mhm.
It's just trekking and
Wow.
going for it. In fact, I did this one Just Watch video a year and a half, almost 2 years back. And I did not know anyone doing such a video at that point. So when I did see Craig Adams' video, I was like, damn, this is like, whoa, this is like so cool.
Eureka.
Yeah, so yeah, there are different people that inspire me,
Yeah.
but I don't specifically have a mentor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would love to have Craig Adams also on the show. I also follow him a lot
Yeah.
because his minimalism stuff
Yeah,
is
very
really
cool,
good.
very
Really
cool.
cool. Yeah. And coming to another silly sounding question, what under 5,000 rupees purchase you might have made recently which brought you a little bit of joy?
Okay, so I would say 7,000, not 5,
Yeah,
because I think that's
of
the
course.
recent purchase that I just made. And I made that purchase out of sheer, oh shit, I need to check the camera with something. So what do I put? I bought a 7,000 rupee lens.
Mhm.
Okay, it's called 7 Artisan. It's a 25mm 1.8 f1.8 lens.
Mhm.
I'm blown away by the footage that it's given me so far.
Wow.
It's a full manual focus lens.
Mhm.
It's for I tried it on my cinema camera. Of course, yes, it's a cinema camera, so
Yeah.
you're getting that quality. But the footage that lens gives you for 7,000 rupees.
This is which company?
7 Artisans.
7 Artisans.
7
yeah.
Artisans
Okay.
lens. That's
Yeah.
the company, and it's a 25mm f1.8 lens. So it's very, very wide open, the aperture.
Right.
I was blown away by the footage that it's giving me.
Wow.
I was like, man, this is the best 7,000 rupees I have ever spent. Period. Literally, the best money that I've spent on a lens.
Wow. Amazing. I'll put the link in the
Yeah,
show notes
put the
for that
link.
if somebody's interested. So, if you could put a billboard somewhere in Bombay or maybe a place where a lot of eyeballs go,
Yeah.
what would you like to have on it? Like any advice or anything which you would like to tell massive number of people?
Yeah, I would put pale blue dot in big bold, and I would write below there, Google it now.
Pale blue
Pale
dot.
blue dot. Right. Now, what that stands
What's
for.
the backstory?
Okay, so I'm huge into space.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm huge into space. Like I'm a nerd when it comes out to those things. Space. I love
Wow.
sci-fi movies. I love space. Anything to do with science, I love it.
Mhm.
So, pale blue dot is basically a write-up or a paragraph written by Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan. Mhm.
Okay. To summarize that whole thing, he was an astrophysicist.
Mhm.
Okay, and to summarize what that said is basically, he said that we as human beings on this planet worry about the smallest things in life:
Mhm.
pieces of land,
Mhm.
money, religion, sex, creed, right? But when you go, so it's basically this picture of Earth. Okay, when you see the picture of what it is of I think the Voyager spacecraft that took a picture of Earth millions of miles away,
Mhm.
and it shows like a small pale blue dot over there.
Mhm.
That's what the thing says, that we worry about so many things in life, about borders, money, sex, greed, and all of those things,
Mhm.
religion.
Mhm.
But we need to realize one thing is that we just have this one planet,
One pale blue dot.
one pale blue dot in this vast universe that we don't at the moment know of any other life, any inhabitable place for us to go.
Mhm.
And we really need to take a look at what we're doing to this planet.
Mhm.
We have just this one place to stay. If this goes, if anything happens to this place, there's no other place for us to go.
There's nowhere
So
to
I would
go.
say, yeah, pale blue dot. Please, everyone, just look it up and read it and make sense of that.
Wow, that again goes into the direction of climate change, and of
I would
course,
say it's much more than that. I think it's like a life thing, because let's be honest, we could maybe even, take climate change, for example. We'd all cut down our carbon emissions. Every country would do that. But at the end of the day, if you're just doing that for the climate, you still just accomplished only one aspect of what he's actually trying to say there. He's trying to say that we're all one people.
yeah,
It doesn't matter.
humanity.
Yeah, because when a lot of astronauts have been asked this question, what do you look up? What do you see when you look up from a space station? They say, we don't see any borders. Borders are man-made, but from space you don't see any borders. You can't say, that's the start
China,
of India.
that's India.
Yeah. You'll see it, but you'll not see any borders made there, right?
Right.
So that's the thing. We worry about the smallest things when we actually have so many other things that we could be focused on.
Right.
You
That gives a lot different perspective.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So coming back to Earth, any books or documentaries or piece of media you usually consume or recently consumed which you would like to recommend to people?
Books, to be honest, I'm not much of a reader. Actually, when it comes to books, and this is the thing with me, when I open the first 3 pages or the first page, I'll read the first page, I'll go to the second page, and then I'm out. I'm literally fallen asleep. But movies, definitely a lot. Again, sci-fi. So one of my favorite movies is Cloud Atlas.
Yeah,
Tom
I
Hanks.
love that movie.
One of my favorite shows, which is on Netflix, is Dark.
I
you
love
haven't-
that show. I binge watched
wow.
it in 2 weekends, I think.
Yeah, that is an amazing show, and
It blew my mind. It was time traveling taken to a whole new
other level. It's other dimensions also now. So that documentary as well. There are so many. It's funny, but I can't think of any one right now. But then, actually, I can't think of any one right now.
And as you mentioned about your upcoming goals as well, what is the thing that Double D is thriving for, upcoming thing?
A lot. Just travel, make content, the OTT thing. Looking forward to that.
The OTT show, right?
Yeah, the show. And just make good stuff and live every day to its fullest, I guess, no matter how cliched that sounds.
Yeah.
But it is, because that's all you have, right? The moment that you're living in right now.
The
That's
present
all you
moment.
have. Yeah, right.
Right. So it was great talking to you, Delton.
It was great being on this show.
Yeah, and where can people reach you on social media? Of course, I'll be putting it out.
Plug in
so
the
if you
social
want-
media handles.
Plug your social media.
So definitely on my Instagram handle, because I'm very active on Instagram. I'm not... whoever's listening to this, please do not send me friend requests on Facebook, because trust me, I'm not active on Facebook. I just have that handle because of Instagram.
Yeah.
The Facebook page because of Instagram. So on Instagram, I'm at I just doubled. That's IJUST.
That's an interesting name.
DOUBLED.
How did it come up?
So it's Delton Dsouza, so double D. So I was not getting double D. So I was like, okay, I'm very influenced, and I listen to a lot of rap, R&B and hip hop and stuff like that. So there's this term, I just doubled up, so I just did something better than you did. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. I just doubled, so I just doubled at I just doubled on Instagram.
Yeah.
And my YouTube page is another place
Muscle
where I
Mat
put
TV.
everything. Yeah. So it's literally youtube.com/MuscleMatTV, and I'm lucky that I actually got that
Got it.
/MuscleMatTV. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'll put all the good stuff and the links in the show notes of this episode.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks for making the time, man.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Himanshu.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sweet.
Hey guys, this is Himanshu again. Now, before you move on, here's something I want to share with you. I have one weekly newsletter which is called Saturday Pentacle. You can think of it as a weekly one-page magazine for the curious minds where you'll find 5 awesome things which I've been pondering on in the last week. It may contain popular articles, blogs, photographs, Instagram posts, books, videos, products, or thoughts. It's completely free. If you want to get it, just go to himanshusachdeva.com. That's my name, himanshusachdeva.com, and drop in your email. You'll get the very next one. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for listening.